Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me just see. Am I audible? Is it correctly?
Yeah.
Can you hear correctly? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
I'm using my phone. Okay. All right. So I think we can start. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshushrunmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishnu Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamahim Tatati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Utam Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunantam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrind Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you very much for inviting me to speak. So at the present moment, I am in Quanzhou City, which is in Fujian Province. Fujian Province is the province opposite of Taiwan in China. So we came together, my wife and the children, to try to do some preaching. So that's why I'm not in my home and I cannot use my camera and my setup, you know. So it's on, unfortunately, Bhaktamark here doesn't have any Wi-Fi, so we'll be using data. Okay, so is there any topic that you would like that we discuss together today? Any questions? Or? Am I still audible? Let me see in the chat. Okay, I think we have some new attendees. So any specific topic? All right, we'll just go along with the flow. So I came here, we arrived 1 week ago. We drove, maybe some of you have watched the 2 vlogs that I've released on this. We drove 700 kilometers to come. We did it in 2 shots, you know, like 3.5 hour, then a break, and then another 3.5 hour. So there's a bit of echo. I think Priti Goranga Prabhu, could you turn off the microphone? I think there's some echo. So that's it. So we're here now. We're trying to see if there's any preaching opportunity. So there's something that's going to be happening that actually is quite surprising, you know. Somehow I think it's the Lord who brought us here for this. And I was really surprised because I think we can discuss a bit. It's okay, we'll discuss about preaching. Maybe we'll discuss a little bit about a little bit, because this is a huge topic, but about, you know, the guru issue. And sorry, someone keeps calling me. I don't know if it's a package. And also associating, you know, wrong association and so on. Why I'm thinking of these topics is because, okay, we arrived here and then, okay, I'm sorry. Because I have ordered a Shrimad Bhagavatam in Chinese, and I think it has arrived.
Ribo.
Oh yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. We're losing you intermittently, Prabhu.
Yes, just one moment. I need.
Sure.
I don't know if you're still hearing me there. I'm very sorry. There's a Shrimad Bhagavatam in Chinese that I'm supposed to ship to Singapore, and he's calling me right now. You know, just think of a time to. I don't know if you can still hear me. Just give me a few seconds.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hamsika Mataji，请你给这个电话打电话，好像那个国家把他们到了，你要去接，你赶快打电话。Okay. Okay, very sorry. Can you hear me now? Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Hare
Yes.
Krishna. Yes,
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, I'm very sorry. As I said, there's a Shrimad Bhagavatam in Chinese that we have ordered for one devotee in Singapore. And when the packages come in China, they call you, you know, sometimes they call you and you have to go downstairs to get it. So I'm 7 kilometers away. So obviously I need to ask one of the Mataji at the temple. So that's what I've just done. So sorry about this. Okay, so what is happening here? Some of you who might be new who are joining the session is we in ISKM follow a system of initiation that Srila Prabhupada has ordered to follow as the July 9th letter. So in this letter, we need to understand. Sorry, okay, I'm receiving again a message concerning this. Okay, please excuse me. This is what happens, you know, when you have a limited manpower, you have 2 children, you have a wife, you try to preach, you're really juggling with time. Things that you organize merge into family life merge into preaching. You have to just, everything seems to kind of falling apart and you have to hold everything. Somehow or other, Krishna makes it happen, but you know. Okay, so we follow in ISKM a system of initiation whereby Srila Prabhupada is still the Diksha Guru and we are guided by Shiksha Guru. So in ISKM, we all have in common His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu. He is the Shiksha Guru for the whole organization. So we have this difference of opinion with ISKCON. So I'm saying this for those, maybe there's some new people that are attending. So basically Diksha, first of all, before I explain the situation, let us go to 10 to 32. Just one moment. Okay, 10 to 18, sorry. Can you go to 10 to 18? Because we hear often this word, initiation, diksha, but people speak about it without understanding what it actually means, okay? So initiation is a whole process, and the aim of that process is spoken in that verse here. So who would like to read this? Who would like to read?
Hare Krishna.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Translation. Thereafter, accompanied by plenary expansions, the fully opulent Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all auspicious for the entire universe, was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki. Devaki, having thus been initiated by Vasudeva, became beautiful by carrying Lord Krishna, the original consciousness for everyone, the cause of all causes, within the core of her heart, just as the east becomes beautiful by carrying the rising moon.
So you see here, it says Devaki, having thus been initiated by Vasudeva. What happened? Vasudeva transferred Lord Shri Krishna from his heart or his mind to the mind of Devaki. So that is the process of initiation. In other words, initiation means the Lord from the heart of the pure devotee is transferred to the heart of the disciple. Now one might argue, well, Paramatma is always there. Yes, but there is a process by which realizing the Lord. And just like ghee is in the cow, is it not? We use the milk, we boil the milk down all the way to its substance, its pure substance, and this is ghee. Yet, we use ghee to cure cows also. So although the ghee is already there, we need to extract it in some process and then feed the cow again, and then the cow can benefit. So yes, the Lord is in the heart, but he is not satisfied with us. Therefore, we cannot realize him. And this satisfaction of the Lord will come about when we satisfy his pure devotee. There's no way around it. Okay, now who wants to read the first small paragraph of this purport? Maybe you continue, Sami Prabhu. First small paragraph.
Hare Krishna. From the beginning of the purport, or?
Yeah, the beginning of the purport, the first small paragraph.
Hare Krishna. As indicated here by the word manasta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was transferred from the core of Vasudeva's mind or heart to the core of the heart of Devaki. We should note carefully that the Lord was transferred to Devaki not by the ordinary way for a human being, but by Diksha, initiation. Thus, the importance of initiation is mentioned here. Unless one is initiated by the right person, who always carries within his heart the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot acquire the power to carry the Supreme Godhead within the core of one's own heart.
Okay, so this is the very important statement here. Prabhupada says, thus the importance of initiation is mentioned here. So unless one is initiated by the right person who always carries within his heart the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot acquire the power to carry the Supreme Godhead within the core of one's own heart. So that's the goal. Everyone carries the Lord, but what does carrying means here? Carrying means to be conscious of his presence, to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead is within our own heart. So unless we initiate it by someone who realizes this, we will never be able to realize this. This is the important point that ISKCON has neglected to emphasize. Now there are more than 50 initiator gurus in ISKCON or more. And definitely, even logically speaking, we cannot expect that all of them is carrying the Supreme Lord. A pure devotee, a Mahabhagavata of the highest order who has realized Krishna is not something cheap. It's not that 50 of them will be, preaching on one planet only. One can take care of a planet. And just like Srila Prabhupada, we need to understand that is that in an infinity, there's also ratio. What I mean by this is that from Shastra, we learn that there's infinite living entities. So there must be infinite devotees. That's a fact, but still there's ratio. So in the material world, most people are conditioned. Some people are trying to become liberated, and out of those persons who have achieved, hardly one knows the Lord in truth. This is, Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita. So it's very rare. So why, this is an argument based on logic. Why would Krishna use 50 of his pure devotee to put on one small planet with 7 billion inhabitants? If he needs to disperse his pure devotee, to reclaim the fallen soul, why 50 here? You see, and one pure devotee who carried the Supreme Lord within his heart, Srila Prabhupada has proved by practical preaching, because an acharya, guru and acharya are synonymous. That's another thing in ISKCON, that they're trying to make these two things separate, that guru is something and acharya is another thing. So the acharya that comes, ordered by the Lord, he is so powerful that he's capable of changing an entire planet by himself. And now we see that there's 50 so-called acharyas in the movement. Okay, Vrajeshwari Mataji is saying that voice is breaking. Is this happening for anyone else?
It's good for me.
Okay, so Vrajeshwari Mataji, maybe it's your connection. So this, yes. So Srila Prabhupada has clearly demonstrated. He says that acharya is self-effulgent, just like the sun. When the sun comes up, there's nobody is trying to get a vote. We don't go in the morning in the town and say, okay, who wants to vote whether or not this is the sun? It sounds ludicrous what I'm saying. It sounds nonsense, right? It's silly. But this is what is happening. In ISKCON, there's a voting system by which they are trying to elect pure devotee. See, so that is not how a pure devotee is seen, is elected. He's elected by the Lord directly. So this is the nuisance. This is the difference between the main difference between ISKM and ISKCON. Actually, we are following the real bona fide teachings of Srila Prabhupada. Through his books, we can show we have done extensive work on this matter. We have defeated all the arguments that are against this, against us. So that's it. And so why I'm mentioning this is because now there's a couple of devotees from ISKCON who are going to start a 20-day sort of Gurukula summer camp. Okay. And as we came here, they know Bhakta Mark. Bhakta Mark is the person who lives. This is his apartment at the moment. He rents here. So these devotees, they have rented a big house and they have asked us to move in for that time period and help them run the summer camp. Okay. So according to Srila Prabhupada's instruction, we should be associating only with devotees who are of the same mind. See, and this is called svajati, right? So we can maybe go see this verse. Who knows which purport it is that Prabhupada speaks of this svajati, the same.
329:17.
329:17, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, can you go there? Priti Gauranga Prabhu, 329:17.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, okay. So 329:17 here.
No, not yet. Prabhu. One second.
Yeah, we can read the translation first. Okay, me, I'm not seeing the screen move. I don't know if other devotees are seeing.
No, just give me 1 second. I think some problem is there.
Okay, so maybe I'll read the translation for now. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, Text 17. The pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharyas. He should be compassionate to the poor and make friendship with persons who are his equals. But all his activities should be executed under regulation and with control of the senses. So here we have, okay, a pure devotee, someone who is who has no anyabilasita sunyam, jnana karma navritam. He has no personal consideration anymore. All he wants to do is to follow the order of the bona fide spiritual master. And the boiled down orders of the pure devotee is to preach this Krishna consciousness, because the pure devotee is nothing but a representative of the Lord. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, no one is more dear to me than he who preaches this Bhagavad Gita, this knowledge. And then Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again has ordered it. And you go village to village and you preach this Krishna consciousness. So you preach at least around your area, Desha, right? Your land. So similarly, the pure devotee also will order the same thing. He will say, you go out and preach. So to try to raise ourselves to pure devotional service, we must accept the order of the spiritual master with heart and soul. Still, there's a way that we have to execute this pure devotional service. And here it is said, by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharyas, so previous acharyas and the current spiritual master, you should be compassionate to the poor. So compassion means to give the Lord's mercy, to give knowledge, okay, to preach. So for those who are poor, doesn't mean materially poor. Poor means spiritually poor, and everybody is poor in this material world. So to try to give them this knowledge that why are you rotting here? Don't you see that death is around the corner? Don't you see that this world is suffering? You're fighting only. Your only endeavor is to counteract the miseries of this material existence. What are you doing? Wake up. This is mercy. This is compassion. And make friendship with persons who are his equals. Okay. So now we go to the last paragraph in the purports. Who wants to read the last paragraph? In the Bhagavad Gita, there is reference. Okay, me, I see the, yes, okay. Who wants to read this?
I think Leela Prabhu has raised his hand. He wants to say and can read as well. Okay, I'll read this. Prabhu. In Bhagavad
Yes.
Gita, there is reference to Bodhayantaha Parasparam, discussing among themselves. Generally, pure devotees utilize their valuable time in chanting and discussing various activities of Lord Krishna or Lord Chaitanya among themselves. There are innumerable books such as the Puranas, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and Upanishads, which contain countless subjects for discussion among two devotees or more. Friendship should be cemented between persons with mutual interests and understanding. Such persons are said to be Swavajati, of the same caste. The devotee should avoid a person whose character is not fixed in the standard understanding, even though he may be a Vaishnava or a devotee of Krishna. If his character is not correctly representative, then he should be avoided. One should steadily control the senses and the mind and strictly follow the rules and regulations, and he should make friendship with persons of the same standard.
So, yes, very good. So here you see, generally pure devotee utilize their valuable time in chanting and discussing various activities of Lord Krishna or Lord Chaitanya amongst themselves. So this is the business of a devotee. A devotee should utilize most of his time to try to discuss about the Lord. That is what purifies the mind. This is what will help us to remember Krishna. This is really, really hard to understand for a karmi or even for a neophyte devotee. Because karmis and neophyte devotees will calculate everything according to their likings. So, but a pure devotee will calculate things according to Krishna's likings. And Krishna wants us to speak about him. This is not really hard to understand. Just like any person in the material world, or even if you want to take more specifically like actors or movie actors or singers, they enjoy hearing about themselves, right? Why this whole social media is so it's taking the world by storm, because people like to hear about themselves. They post something and then people like you've done so nice, you're very pretty, and so on. So people like to hear themselves being praised. We are also, maybe some of us also are guilty of this. This is, of course, an anartha. It's something that should be removed from the heart, and it will be removed through a good sadhana, spiritual practice. But why this is there? That's my point. Why this is there? Because God, Krishna, likes to hear about himself. You see, we are part and parcel of God. Therefore, we have the same qualities as the Supreme Lord. And because Krishna likes to hear about himself, therefore we like to hear about ourselves. Okay, so but then now the question is, who should we discuss about? Okay, Krishna likes to hear about himself. I like to hear about myself. Why should we hear about him and not me? Well, that is natural. Why? Because his activities are wonderful and our activities are miserable. That's all. The big and the small, the infinite and the finite. So simply because of our constitution, we have to speak of him. It's very easy to understand. If you have 10 men in a room, you have like 9 rickshaw driver, and you have Narendra, the Indian president, okay, Mr. Modi. So who are we going to talk about? Who are we going to listen to? What the rickshaw driver did, had like 2 customers and this. And no, naturally we listen to the Mr. Modi, because he will be speaking. Of course, I don't think he'll ever be with 9 rickshaw driver in a room. It's just an example. So the point is that we hear about the most important person. We talk about the most important person. Okay. Okay, I will ask some of the people in the chat, please do not create disturbance. You know, if you have any questions, you can add you can write your question in the chat, then we can discuss these things. So it's natural that we should discuss about Krishna because his activities are wonderful. Now, something is checking us from doing this. That is envy. All right. So here, then it is said, there are so many books, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, and the pure devotee discuss about these things. So it's all about Krishna. It's never about ourselves, you know. Then, which contain countless subjects for discussion among two devotees or more. Friendship should be cemented between persons with mutual interests and understanding. So that's important. So devotees who have common interests should become friends. They should not associate with persons who do not have the same interest, even though, Prabhupada said here, even though they might be Vaishnavas. Such persons are said to be Svajati, of the same caste. The devotee should avoid a person whose character is not fixed in the standard understanding, even though he may be a Vaishnava or a devotee of Krishna. If his character is not correctly representative, then he should be avoided. So we have to find persons who are fixed in the standard understanding. Now, I can have my idea of what standard understanding is. You can have yours. How do we decide? We come to the scriptures and the spiritual master. So what Srila Prabhupada has done. Everyone is getting this knowledge now because of Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, we have to see through him. We have to judge the situation through him. So now why I'm speaking of this is that the devotees who are inviting us to do this are not Svajati with us. They have not the same understanding. So I was confused. I know Srila Prabhupada doesn't want us to do this here. He's saying clearly. Then, but I came here all the way and it seems to sort of match. It seems to be an arrangement that we have to do this. So I was confused. I was chanting. And then I thought, well, let me call His Grace Srila Gopal Prabhu. No, this is what we have to do. When we are confused about the subject matter, we have to approach authority. It's not that everything will be revealed to us. We are not on that stage yet. A devotee who does not need to consult anyone else because he has got direct connection with Krishna. We are not there. So I call His Grace Srila Gopal Prabhu and I speak with him. And I explain the situation. So the situation was that I went, maybe you can mute this Navin. Yeah. So I went to, they had invited us to a program, a few days ago. So we went, just to see. And so that's where they told us, please come and help us with the Gurukula and so on. So then I decided, okay, I'll go and tell them that, I accepted the Ritvik system of initiation. So we went there and we told them. And the Prabhu, who is 50 years old now, he's been 30 years brahmachari in India. He's Indian, living in the temple, So even though I told him that, he did not mind. He said, that's okay, never mind. Anyway, he was willing to continue associating with us. So then I told Sunagopa Prabhu all these things. And Sunagopa Prabhu told us that that's okay, they seem to be simply misguided. They look like nice people because I told them that the Mataji, she told me that I do not know really how to preach. Not me, she said she does not know how to preach and she needs help. But she's very famous in China, all devotees practically know her. So Sunagopa Prabhu saw an opportunity here. My choice actually, if I had not called Sunagopa Prabhu, would be not to go. I would have chosen not to. But Sunagopa Prabhu said, no, you go. And through her, you try to make other contacts and you try to slowly educate them also. So why is Sunagopa Prabhu saying this when here Srila Prabhupada is saying, don't associate with person who are not Svajati? It's because Sunagopa Prabhu has faith that we will be capable of giving our association and not taking theirs. See, so this is what happens. When two persons are together, there's always one person that will be influencing the other more. Just like a man might not be smoking, and if he starts to hang out with another man who is smoking, then if he takes his association, he will start to smoke. But if he is very, very strong, and he's always trying to convince his friend who's smoking to quit, then the man who's smoking is taking association from his friend. So that's it. So now we are about to enter into a kind of preaching program that I've never experienced before, which is to basically be in the other camp. And we'll be there for about more than 2 weeks, living with them. And another thing I ask, of course, is about Prashadam, because this Prabhu, Nanda Prabhu, he is a disciple of Jayapataka Swami. So I asked Sunagopa Prabhu, well, how do we do about Prashadam? Because Prashadam means what? Prashadam means food that has been accepted by the Lord. That food becomes Prashadam. Food that is not accepted by Krishna, if he doesn't want it, that is not Prashadam. Maybe we can go see concerning this. We can quickly, okay, go to Madhya, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 9, text 53.
Okay, bro.
So Madhya 9:53. So this verse is there because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at one point was preaching to some Buddhists, and the Buddhists were envious, and they had made this plot, this plan. Yeah, 53. No, 53.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, who wants to read?
Translation. Having made their plot, the Buddhists brought a plate of untouchable food before Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and called it Mahaprasadam.
So the Buddhists, they brought some untouchable food before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they said this is Mahaprasadam. So they were being very, very offensive, basically. Okay, purport.
Purport. The word aparavriti anna refers to food that is unacceptable for a Vaishnava. In other words, a Vaishnava cannot accept any food offered by a Vaishnava in the name of Mahaprasadam. This should be a principle of all Vaishnavas. When asked what is behavior of a Vaishnava, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, a Vaishnava must avoid the company of an Vaishnava, a sat. The word asat refers to an Vaishnava. That is
Avaishnava.
Vaishnava. That is one who is not a Vaishnava. Asat Sangha Taka. A Vaishnava Acharya. Matcha 2287. A Vaishnava must be very strict in this respect and should not at all cooperate with a Vaishnava. If an Vaishnava offers a food in the name of Mahaprasadam, it should not be accepted. Such food cannot be prasadam because an Vaishnava cannot offer anything to the Lord. Sometimes preachers in Krishna consciousness movement have to accept food at home where the householder is an Vaishnava. However, let's see here. Lost my place. Sorry about that. All right. All right. Yeah, I very much lost my place. Yeah. Oh, however, if this food is offered to a deity, it can be taken. Ordinary food can be cooked by an Vaishnava, should not be accepted by a Vaishnava. Even if a Vaishnava cooks food without fault, he cannot offer it to Lord Vishnu. It cannot be accepted as Mahaprasadam, according to Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 9:26.
Yeah. Patram pushpam palam toyam vibhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmana. If one offers.
If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Krishna can accept anything offered by his devotee with devotion. And Vaishnava may be a vegetarian and a very clean cook, but because he cannot offer Vishnu the food he cooks, it cannot be accepted as Mahaprasadam. It's better that a Vaishnava should abandon such food as untouchable.
Okay, so here Srila Prabhupada is speaking about those who are not devotees of the Lord. So food offered, food cooked by them, even though here Prabhupada is saying maybe a vegetarian and very clean, even though the person is clean and is a vegetarian, the food that he cooks cannot be taken by someone who's serious in devotional life, because that will make one forget the Lord. It's contaminating. Those who are serious in devotional service don't take anything except Krishna Prasadam. So why I'm speaking of this is because if he offers to Jayapataka Swami, who is not transcendental personality, right? Transcendental personalities, spiritual personalities are not different from their pictures. It's like Krishna can accept even when you offer to the picture. Srila Prabhupada can accept even when you offer to the picture. They are transcendental. That means they're beyond any rules of the material world. So Prabhupada often gives the example here in the material world, the substance and the name is different. Now, water, you're not drinking water. But spiritual, you say Krishna, 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 you're associating with the Lord. So this is it. So I was concerned, what if they offer and this and that? So I asked Sunagopal Prabhu, and he said, well, for now you will have to overlook this for the sake of preaching. So just see how preaching is important. That sometimes rules and regulations that are very much important to follow can be omitted for a higher purpose, which is to preach. Of course, he told me best thing if you can try to cook as much as you can, or you go in the kitchen before they offer and you offer there and in mine, and so on. So we'll be some sort of undercovers, Of course, he knows. I told him we're Ritvik, we accept the Ritvik system, but other devotee might not know also. So we are starting this. So preaching is really the essence. This is, if we preach, we will make much faster advancement than if we simply, stay at home and worship the deity. So it is so important, because we might not realize how important this Krishna consciousness movement is. We are limited in our realizations. But the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, he knows what is this world. We still don't really know what is this world, right? We're still attracted when we see beautiful women or beautiful men. So how come? Because we don't know really what is this material world. We have no idea. We have some idea, but we do not fully realize how much, at least I don't, how much dangerous this place is, how much low we are to be subjected to be born in this material world. But the pure devotee is fully cognizant in that aspect. So here, I'd like to go to (353) Bhagavatam 353. translation. Who would like to read?
Hare Krishna. O my Lord, great philanthropic souls travel on the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord.
So this is the business of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. What did he do? Travel on the earth. He traveled. He did not just stay in one place. Of course, it's not that staying in one place and preaching around us is bad. It's not it. But this is a further degree of realization that someone who travels and preach, So these Mahatma, these great souls, like the Acharyas, they are on that level. You can read the purport.
To be obedient to the wishes of the Supreme Lord is the natural position of every living entity, but due only to past misdeeds, a living being becomes averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord and suffers all the miseries of material existence. No one has anything to do but render devotional service to the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. Therefore, any activity other than transcendental loving service to the Lord is more or less a rebellious action against the Supreme Will.
Yes, you see. So actually, we have nothing else to do but simply serve Krishna. And it is hard to realize because we're contaminated. Karmis are completely in illusion, thinking that they have to work very, very hard to save money, buy cars, and then death comes, and that's it. They're done, finish. How many people have passed and gone on this earth? We cannot count it. So, but this is not just karmis. This is also devotees. We are also still undergoing a process of being purified by all this tendency towards karma and jnana. Here it is clearly said, there is, what is that? No one has anything to do but render devotional service to the Supreme Lord. There's nothing else we need to do. And here it said, therefore, any activity other than transcendental loving service to the Lord is more or less a rebellious action against the Supreme Will. So maybe I can give you an example here. We came to see Bhakta Mark. He's a nice Bhakta, but he's very much attached to business. He likes to do this business. So this taste for a lot of activities. You need to contact the client. You need to check the quality control. You need to do this. You need to do that. A lot of activities and a lot of manifestation of the fruits of your activities. Wow, new products have been made. A new printing is there. Finally, I'm shipping those products, this container, that thing. A lot of activities are there. We have been in this material world for so long that this taste for performing an action and getting the result manifested is very much deep into our hearts. And it's hard to get rid of it. But here it is said, it is a sort of rebellious action against the Supreme Will. So even though we might be devotees, we still are attached to all these karmic activities to get working, make some money, get some money in the bank, etc. So this is a rebellious, because why money? You see, if Krishna can manifest, he's creating mountains of golds, right? Mines. He's the one creating diamonds. He's the one manifesting fruits, grains, everything. So he has got all this potency. The Lord is making all of this. So why should we maintain ourselves if he can maintain? So this is it's actually false ego to think that we are the doer, we are doing everything. And I remember still in the beginning, when I started to hear Prabhupada speaking like this, saying these things in his books, in his letter, in his classes, I had no realization whatsoever. I was thinking, but how? If I don't work, obviously, there's no salary coming in. I have bills to pay, this and that at that time. So it's really a matter of purifying the hearts. Because someone who doesn't have faith, someone who's not surrendered, in other words, won't be supported by the Lord in this manner. Why? Because he's doing things that are outside the will of Krishna. Therefore, Krishna will not be backing him up for that. Maybe he might be chanting and this and so on, but let's say he has got a desire to buy a big, nice house. Why would Krishna give him that? Why would he support him for this? This is outside the need of the basic needs of the body. So therefore, to be surrender means to have no other business but to try to preach this Krishna consciousness. And if one can boil down his desires to this, then he will see how the Lord is maintaining it. Of course, money will come somehow or other, right? It's not that every month from the sky you see a huge pack of money falling and you did. No, there's some arrangement there. And even that he can do also. My sister, she was in Hong Kong many years ago. At that time, she had gone to the ISKCON temple there. She was in China at that time, before I came. And she was stuck in Hong Kong. She had no money, no phone. So in those days, I think it was at least 15 years ago, cell phones were not really common. So she was stuck there, and she had to take a ferry back to mainland because Hong Kong is kind of separated from mainland China, and the ferry costs like 195 yuan, something like that, almost 200. So she was stuck and she was praying. She was, oh my Lord, what do? I don't have any friends here and so on. And as she walked, she found 200 Hong Kong dollars right there, So this was exactly what she needed. That's the exact amount she had to go and buy that ticket to cross over back to Zhuhai, was the name of the city. So so Krishna, actually, he can make this arrangement. Now, where did that 200 yuan come from? Yes, there's some arrangement, of course. Someone lost it and so on. But the point is that we should not become bewildered by the immediate cause. The immediate cause is not so important. It's the remote cause that is important. It's Krishna. Krishna is behind all, and the cause of all causes. Sarvakaranya Karina. So why is the money coming this way? We must accept that it's Krishna's arrangement. And this in this past year that we have started again to take the full-time preaching life, I've seen it happen again and again, that how Krishna is making arrangement for us to have whatever we need. And in fact, we have more than what I used to with the salary. Our comfort, if you want, the material comfort that the Lord is offering is even more than what we used to have. Of course, I don't want this material comfort. It's not that I want it. In fact, I find it very distracting at times. I have to fight back, right? Because the more you become comfortable materially, the more you are less strong spiritually. So, of course, that is for neophyte devotees like me. Devotee who is very, very advanced, he can sleep in the best of beds, eat the best of food, and he won't be affected. That is actually the real mercy, right? There's many verses like that Krishna says, if I favor someone, I take away his money to help him surrender. So that is nice. That is a special mercy of the Lord. But even higher than that is the devotee who has got all this opulence, but is not proud and doesn't use it for his sense gratification. We can see like Maharaj Yudhishthira. He owned the earth, yet he was a pure devotee. So I'm seeing this. So a few days ago, I was thinking, okay, now I'm here. I have the rent to pay in Guangzhou, our apartment that is still next to the temple, which is like 5,500 yuan, 55,000 Indian rupees a month. It's very expensive. So, and I don't have the money. So I'm thinking, well, okay, I don't have the money, but I have faith. I had faith that Krishna somehow or other would send, because he's been proving it again and again. When we see arrangements of Krishna taking place, we have to meditate on such things. We tend to look away, sometimes. It's kind of, what can I say? As if, he's coming closer and we're a bit afraid of accepting it, So I was thinking like this as I was chanting outside in the garden here, And I was thinking, well, the money will come one way or another. I don't need to worry too much. And just like 1 hour later, maybe my father calls me and he's, oh, I've got some money somehow, so I would like to be transferred to you. And it's much more than what I needed to pay, even many 2-3 months of rent. So there you go. Again, the money came. So why? Okay, sorry. So why should we need to work so hard if Krishna can bring whatever you need? Where's the need? So the need is there. The need is that there are different grades of devotees. So it's not possible that everybody will be able to do this. So therefore, for those who cannot do it fully yet, they should learn to slowly get detached from the result. And that is the whole, chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita speaks a lot of this, working without fruitive results, right? Not being attached to the result, should offer me the result. Krishna always speaks of this. So the action, okay, you keep, because you like that, right? You like to go left and right, filling paperwork, doing your designs and so on. You're addicted to this. You keep it, the action. That's I'm not going to be encroaching upon the action, but the result you give to me. So still there's a trading here. You see, that my Lord, I'm not willing to give up this intense endeavor because I still have this taste for it. But okay, I'll give you the result, right? And Prabhupada did say, 50% is the standard here to give. So result means what? Salary, basically, not nowadays. So in this way, by giving up the result, one will purify his heart from the tendency of performing so much activities. But actually, to perform devotional service, Krishna says, Patram pushpam palam toyam. You give me a flower and some little fruit. You need to go 8 hours a day to get fruits, to work 8 hours a day to get some fruits or flour. This is available everywhere. So to serve the Lord, actually, money is not even required. You can have, you can go, like Prabhupada said, you go to some, especially in India, maybe you go to someone who's got a garden and I would like to have one flower from your garden. I would like to offer to the Lord. Prabhupada says, yes, generally they would give. So this is called karma yoga because karma is still there. The question of karma is still there. The liking for activities is still there. But yoga, you link it with Krishna. Somehow or other get some Krishna consciousness. You quote your karmic mentality with some Krishna consciousness. So that's the beginning of Krishna consciousness because karmis is the most in this material world. Then there's some jnanis, those who speculate, philosophers, scientists, poets, etc. They speculate about the nature of this material world and they are addicted to that. So the activities now has been transferred to the subtle plane. They like to be agitating their minds, right? Because the philosophers, you will see, they agitate the mind, and by agitating the mind, they emulsify new ideas. This emulsification of new ideas, of enjoying, observing the powerful nature of their own mind, they take pleasure in that. That is jnani. So for them, although they have stopped the karma, they have stopped the hard ass labor of working so hard, still they have not stopped the agitation of the subtle body, the mind. So for them, there's jnana yoga. You like to speculate, you like to learn this left, right, center. Okay, at least you read the Upanishad. Upanishads are there especially for jnanis. The 4 Vedas are there especially for karmis. Because in the 4 Vedas, you have so many sacrifices for fruitive results, right? Maybe we can go see this a little bit. Yeah. Okay, we can go see Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.2. Canto 2, chapter 2, text 2. can read the translation.
Hare Krishna. The way of presentation of the Vedic sounds is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdoms. The conditioned soul, hover in dreams of such heavenly illusory pleasures, but actually they do not relish any tangible happiness in such places.
So you see, it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdoms. Okay, so that is the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas. By properly performing these sacrifices, you can go to heaven. So this is the highest material enjoyment that you can get. You know, there's different grades of heavenly enjoyment, and in this way, that's it. You enjoyed it. So that is even nowadays, you can see that the karmis are so fallen that they have forgotten even this sort of material enjoyment. They are satisfied with their liquor here, and their women and their cinema and so on. And they have forgotten even that there's higher material enjoyment like heaven and so on. Okay, you can go see 429:47. 429:47. Okay, first go to 22. Oh no, sorry, 42. Okay, no, 429:47. Yeah, you can go 429:47. Sorry. Who wants to read?
Hare Krishna. My dear King Barhishman, you should never out of ignorance take to the Vedic rituals or to fruitive activity, which may be pleasing to hear about or which may appear to be the goal of self-interest. You should never take these to be the ultimate goal of life.
Yes. So you see, so you should never take to the Vedic rituals and fruitive activity, which may be pleasing to hear about, or which may appear to be the goal of self-interest. You should never take these to be the ultimate goal of life. So the Vedic sounds, the 4 Vedas, are filled with such ritualistic activities. So there are so many different sacrifices. Just like I'm taking some Sanskrit class once in a while. You know, now I'm a bit busy. I have diminished, but so my Sanskrit teacher, he sent me a video, you know, of a yagya that was taking place in India. So they heat a special pot. That pot is a special alloy. Okay, they know how to mix metal to make this pot very special. So what they do, they heat that pot to a very high temperature, and the pot has a specific shape. So they heat it very, very, very much, and then they drop in suddenly a lot of goat milk. And what happens is that it does the same shape as a small nuclear bomb. You see the thing rises all the way to the roof, and it really does like a mushroom, you know, those kind of nuclear bomb mushrooms. And yes, it's impressive, you know, you just put goat milk and such an explosion comes. So then he sent me this, and then he says, oh, special yagya, this, that, this, you know. So this is very impressive to them. They like, you know, this type of yogic performances. So they have lost, not only are they bewildered trying to enjoy the material senses, which we're not this body, so they have lost the spiritual knowledge, but now they become even enamored with those technicalities of the yagya, you know, the fire going high and this and that. So this is not what the Vedas are meant for. But why such things are there in the Vedas is for such people who cannot directly take to pure devotional service. So similarly, us amongst devotees, we also are sometimes addicted to still performing such hard work. So this Bhakta where we live, he leaves early in the morning, he leaves around 6:30 and he comes back late. You see, I'm giving this class in his house. He's still not back. Now it's 9 p.m. He's still not back. So whole day, going left, right, doing this, that. And I try to speak to him, have him see that it's not absolutely necessary to do this. But he says, no, he wants to use the money for Krishna. He wants to build temple, he'd like to buy some land, because he's American. He'd like to go back to America and buy some land and get his father settled with him and just chant Hare Krishna and so on. So I often tell him that you don't necessarily to work so hard to get these things. If you simply surrender, it will also come. But I don't push too much on that part, because Krishna says that for those who are too, what is that verse in Bhagavad Gita? Those whose mind is too attached to, one should not unsettle them, even though such engagement are of a lower nature. One should first try to engage them for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. Who knows these verses?
$326.
Sorry?
326.
Yeah, let's go see 326. Yes. Who wants to read this?
Hare Krishna. So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So we can see how Srila Prabhupada used to engage many different types of devotees. So a devotee who had the nature to do business, Prabhupada would not discourage. He will engage that devotee in making business and bringing the money, and giving to Krishna. So, but still, we can see that generally a devotee who does that has got this tendency for business. He has got this liking. And this is not just to business. And we should not think, I'm not speaking here saying, oh, these devotees working and so on, and I'm free from that. No, this expands throughout the whole Varnashram system. What I mean by this is that all prescribed duties that are there in Vedic culture for different Varnas and Ashramas are within the category of karma. And these, not, of course, there's some duties for a brahmachari to study sastra and so on and so on. But what I mean is in relationship to this body. Okay. For example, grihastha. Grihastha ashram is there. And it is filled with duties in relationship to the body. So at the present moment, I'm a father of 2 children. I'm the husband of a wife. So these are material designations of the Grihastha ashram, and there are duties to be performed according to this. But nowhere, and it is not said, this verse, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, right? To chant and hear about the Lord. So these 9 processes is pure devotional service. To hear about the Lord, to chant about the Lord, to worship the deity, and so on, so on. It doesn't say in those 9 processes that get a wife, get children. It's not like the 10th item, right? So it's not necessary. So why is it happening? That means there's still some liking for this. This lust of material existence to unite men and women together is not out of the heart yet. So definitely most devotees will get married. That is, natural. So my point here is this. There is a liking for me spending time with my children. That is there. No, I'm not going to be lying. I have got this material attachment to my children. So then what to do? How? It goes against, right? We're supposed to simply remember Krishna at the time of death. How are you going to remember Krishna if you have children that are so dear to you and so on? Therefore, you must link this material duty to Krishna. You will spend time with your children. You have got this liking for doing this. You spend time with them, but make them Krishna conscious. That's the goal. So yes, I spend time with them, I play with them and so on, but I try as much as I can. I'm not very good at it, but whatever little endeavor I can do to make them Krishna conscious. So I get the part that I like, which is to be with my children. And at the same time, there is devotional service that is being made because Krishna is satisfied in the sense that I'm helping them advance spiritually. Remember. So again, like I said, it's not just for the businessmen in the movement. It's for everyone. Everybody has got some material engagements, right? Even brahmacharis have got, even sannyasis, they have got some duties. If they become too attached to such duties and not for the purpose, niyamagraha, right? To perform the regulations of the Varna Ashram system or the Vedas for the sake of doing it only and not for the sake of spiritual advancement. That also becomes an impediment. Okay, so why there's different types of devotees is because there's different types of desires. Purified desires, less purified, and so on and so on. I will be sending Priti Gauranga Prabhu. I have got something which is not in the Veda base that I'll be sharing with you here. So I'll send it to your WhatsApp. Is it possible for you to open a WhatsApp tab there in the browser?
Yeah, I'll paste it too.
If you paste it, I mean to say, just open that tab, that would be good.
Okay.
Okay, one moment. I'm trying to send this. Okay, here it comes. Let me know if you received this. Have you received that?
Yes. It'll be small actually.
Yeah, I don't know if you can pinch in somehow or other. Maybe Control plus. Try this, or Command plus. Yeah, I don't know if are you going to be pasting it into another document? Okay. Okay, so we'll go slowly. This is describing the 9 types of material devotional service and the pure devotional service. So here we have, sorry. Okay, who would like to start reading? Maybe we can skip the Sanskrit, just O King.
Hare Krishna. O King, the devotional service towards the Lord of Sri Lakshmi, which is performed for revengefully destroying someone, is known as Adama, Dama, Sibhakti. low-level devotion in the material mode of ignorance, for it consists of rogue-like tendencies.
Rogue, yeah. So this, you see, there are some devotees, so-called devotees, who are actually performing devotional service to destroy others or to become vengeful, you know. Actually, we have got some experience of some, you know, a so-called devotee like this who is simply trying to destroy our movement and is very vengeful, you know. So that person is performing devotional service in Adhama Tamasi Bhakti. So the lowest in the mode of ignorance. So you see, mode of ignorance has got 3 divisions: passion 3 divisions, and goodness 3 divisions. Okay, next one. One who worships Lord Jagannath.
One who worships Lord Jagannath, also known as Narayan, with a deceitful heart, like an unchaste wife worshipping her husband, performs Madhyama Tamasi Bhakti, intermediate devotion in the material mode of ignorance.
So these verses are there. That means what? That means these devotees are there. So there are persons who, you know, they wear tilak, they chant Hare Krishna, but their heart is like this. They have a deceitful heart. What does that mean? They always have got some motive that they don't reveal to anyone. They'll talk in a way as to try to get that motive, you know, very duplicitous, not direct. They're only thinking about what they can get. Doesn't matter what others, you know. They're not devotees, but somehow or other they have come to chant, and they're wearing tilak and so on. Next one.
O maintainer of the earth, seeing the demigod worship of others, one who worship Lord Hari with a feeling of competitive enviousness is understood to be performing Uttama Tamasi Bhakti, superior devotion in the material mode of ignorance.
Yes, so it's good that we also discuss these things, because it's probable that sometimes we degrade our devotional service to such low standard. So maybe you travel in India and you see they're worshiping demigod, and out of pride or you're envious, what is these demigods worshiper? You know, what are they? They don't know anything. I know, and we try to in this way try to chant Hare Krishna to, you know, show off and so on. We've degraded our quality to Attamatamasi Bhakti in the mode of ignorance. So Srila Prabhupada especially guarded us, saying that we should not associate with devotees in the mode of ignorance. So these 3 types that we've just read, we have to be very, very careful. We should not take their association. If they're willing, if somehow they have got this bad tendencies, but still they're willing to advance, then we should give our association, try to help them. And if we're not strong enough to help, then we should completely ignore. Or if they're not willing to hear, then also completely ignore. Next one.
Equipped with higher faith, one who worships Lord Hari, praying for money and material resources, is understood to be performing Adama Rajasi Bhakti, low-level devotion in the material mode of passion.
So someone who wants money, but here it is said higher faith. So definitely the faith is stronger, because he has got faith that if I worship the Lord, I'll get money. That is actually, you know, if you come to take all the soul in the material world, that is actually quite high, in the sense that he has got faith that there's a God, and he has got faith that God will supply my necessities. So we see this often amongst, you know, Hindus, Christians, right? Prabhupada often quotes, God give us our daily bread, which is a Christian prayer. So, but at least there is something there, that God is all powerful. He can bring whatever necessities of life I need. So he goes to God, as opposed to the gross atheist who's opening, you know, his factory and working like an ass day and night, thinking that I believe what I can do with my hands. That's what they like to say that, especially in China. I don't know if it's a saying. I believe what I can do with my own hands. What can you do with your own hands? Can you stop death with your own hands? You might not even have the power to move if Krishna doesn't allow you to. It's like this great scientist, so-called scientist, Stephen Hawking. He was paralyzed his entire life, such a miserable condition. You cannot even move your own body. And he's trying to prove that there's no control. I've never seen someone more controlled than him. And he's trying to say there's no control. So such person who go to God for money are much, much, much better than rascal atheists. Next.
Through higher devotion, one who worships Lord Madhav while desiring material fame in all the world is said to be performing Madhyama Rajasi Bhakti, intermediate devotion in the material mode of passion.
So if one wants to become famous because of his devotional service, he's in the middle of mode of passion. We see this, you can, very easy, you can see on YouTube sometimes some people, they speak in ways that you can see it's all act, it's acting only. This is why making vlogs, some of you might know I'm doing these vlogs. So it's, we have to be very careful, because when you're conscious that many people are watching you and so on, it's very easy to be carried away to try to please them. And we have seen actually one devotee vlogger who was doing this. Now he stopped vlogging, but we saw how he was, he was brahmachari before, traveling so many countries, and he was distributing books and so on. So it looks nice, but at one point you start to act too much as how others would like to perceive you. So one has to be fixed up in the understanding that I'm doing this for my spiritual master, Prabhupada, and for no other reason. I'm not going to start to speak in ways as to please others. Especially when you have, that is the disease, you see. When you become contaminated, when you present something contaminated, people will come for this. And the more people who have got a contaminated desire to observe you are there, the harder it becomes to resist that. To give you an example, that devotee I'm speaking about, he got a lot of subscribers because he did some videos smashing Muslims. Okay, so our business as devotees is not to smash Muslims. Now, if somehow or other there's some topic concerning Hindu-Muslim that can come in the philosophy, we can discuss. That's all right. But our duty is not to smash Muslims. We also have made the video, smashing one, but he was attacking the Vedas. And our goal was to educate Hindus on the goal of Vedic literature. But if we do this, and then many people come to us for this, they will want, wow, he's smashing Muslims, I'm coming for that. Then those people, they come for wrong desires. They come from the wrong thing. They won't become devotee, most of them. So if there's more and more people like this that come and observe you, then their weight of what they want to see will push on you. You will maybe, collapse under the desire and give up and say, yes, I'll give you what you want to see. And when you do that, you become their servant. You have given up the service of Lord Krishna through your spiritual master. And that is the danger. That's why this filming thing of, shooting oneself, speaking in front of the camera, to be honest, even, now I don't very feel comfortable, because after all, I'm speaking alone, right? I'm speaking to a piece of plastic. No, there's nobody in front of me and I'm talking as if I'm speaking to someone. So it's not natural, not at all, And what to do? We live in Kali Yoga with all this nonsense stuff around us. We got to use it. But I don't think I'll ever be comfortable with this. Just like now, I'm speaking still to a cell phone, but I know that you're in real time listening. I'm still alone here and nobody around me, but I know that you're there and you're listening in live. So it's more natural already. Still less natural than in a temple room with all the devotees. That is even more, that is the real process. The real environment that used to be always speak in front of an audience. So now with this virtual thing. Okay, so that is my point. You can start to, and what is taking place in our movement is this. They're offering a philosophy which is not pure. They're trying to attract devotees with other means. Just like sometimes they like to put the Matajis in the Harinam in front, and they all are dressed so beautifully and makeup. That happens a lot in Russia and Ukraine. Definitely, women look very beautiful in sari. And now you put a white woman wearing sari, it looks very special, right? So definitely men will be attracted. Now, if a man comes to the temple because he saw that Harinam, is he going to become a serious devotee? No, he's going to fall into one of those categories, until performing in a mode of ignorance and so on. So he won't be a real devotee. And because the movement is being filled with such people, then when I speak, I'm going to take into consideration their likings. And this is the birth of an Apasampradaya. That's why it's so dangerous to present a changed philosophy, because these things will happen. It becomes a vicious circle. Many famous people in ISKCON or any other, they sing bhajans like if they have attained such high state. So why? Because they want to be famous. Somehow or other, they're in the mode of passion, middle mode of passion. Okay, next one.
O Lord of the earth, one who worships Lord Hari with a desire to attain liberation such as Salokya, residing on the same planet as the Lord, is said to be performing Uttama Rajasi Bhakti, superior devotion in the material mode of passion.
When I first read that one, it came as a big slap, because I thought at least that this would be in the mode of goodness. And no, it's in the mode of passion even. Can you imagine? To want to attain liberation, such as Salokya, residing on the same planet. We're not even talking of, in personal, here we're speaking of a personal liberation. So to want to go back to Krishna, to go back to the spiritual world, I'd like to live on the same planet as the Lord. That's why I'm going to be doing devotional. That is not even in the mode of goodness, right? So every time I read this one, is like a big wake up, how pure devotional service is not cheap thing. It's not a pure devotee is not cheap. To be completely freed, that is not easy. Many devotees will desire this. But at least it's the highest in the mode of passion. We're coming to the mode of goodness. Now, it's not that it's bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this. Because you're performing devotional service. That means what? That means that even that desire will go away. And one will progress to the, completely freed from material desire. That even if Krishna wants me to stay here in the material world, I don't mind, as long as he's satisfied. That is very high. We might be saying, oh no, it's okay, I don't mind going back to the spiritual world, this and that. And then a relative dies, and what is this material world? Leave this horrible place, and we go back. So it's about the intensity of sometimes the suffering that we're undergoing. With the pure devotee, anything he can take. That's not cheap. It's not cheap. Okay, next one.
Equipped with higher faith, one who worships Lord Hari expertly only to diminish his sins is said to be performing Adama Sattviki Bhakti, low-level devotion in the material mode of goodness.
Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masucha. So I will take away all your sinful reactions. If you think that, oh, really? Oh, that's nice. So we're still in the mode of goodness. That's good, but it's not pure. So if we want to diminish this sin that is waiting on us, I've done so much sinful reaction. What is sin, basically? What is the reactions of sin? To be, of course, in this material world, but ugly features, less intelligent. If we're thinking, I want to serve the Lord, but I don't want to become less intelligent. I like my intelligence. So sharp. If we are not ready to give up even our intelligence for Krishna, that means we don't want to be affected by sins. Because one who gets a lower grade intelligence is a reaction of a sinful birth. But a pure devotee prays that, no, even if I'm a bug, that's all right. I just don't want to forget you. Do you think a bug has got a high intelligence? So it's not even based on sharpness of intelligence. That's another thing. Like Hanuman, right? Shri Hanumanji, how he was praying. Then the Bhagavatam, the 9th canto, Lord Ramachandra. So the Lord, it's not through education or beauty or high birth that you can establish a relationship with the Supreme Lord. No, it's not with these things. What intelligence can we have anyway? So we should be careful also to not be attached to our sharpness of mind, how well we can present the philosophy. Like Hanuman, he was a monkey. Prabhupada even said it in a class. Prabhupada said Hanuman was not intelligent. Why did he pick up the whole mountain? He needed herbs. He picks up the whole mountain. So Prabhupada said it in a class. He said he was monkey, less intelligent. He did not know. Okay, what is the herb? What is that? Okay, all right. Somehow they just carry out the service. They picked up the whole mountain and he brought it. So even intelligence, we should not be attached to. And what else? Beauty, right? Beauty, intelligence, high birth. I want to be your devotee, that's okay. But if I can be born in a Suchi family, clean. If I have to be born like in China from the no, that I don't want. I want to go back. So even this we should not be attached. And that's why there's so many beautiful pastimes of devotees who have actually taken birth in demonic family. Vritasura, right? So he took birth in a demonic birth, but still he didn't lose his pure Krishna consciousness. So that the only thing the pure devotee want is to be engaged in the service of the Lord. They don't want to forget him. That they don't. But that is not a material desire. This is simply natural. This is the eternal nature of the living entity. To remember Krishna and serve him. Okay, next one.
Equipped with faith, one who performs service because he has heard from somewhere that such and such service is dear to Lord Hari, but does not apply much intellect and realization, is said to be performing Madhyama Sattviki Bhakti, intermediate devotion in the material mode of goodness.
That is a very, very nice one, because we can see how powerful is devotee association when someone is very humble and meek. We have got this experience of young bhaktas and bhaktins that are joining us, and they're very much attached to some of our main preachers in the movement. And due to this simple-minded or simple-hearted attachment, they immediately become situated in the mode of goodness, their devotional service. Even though they might not be learned, here it is said, but does not apply much intellect and realization. Just like a child. A child, when the father says something, it's a fact. He accepts fully, That's why sometimes I see my son, I think his realization are higher than mine, because I'm telling him something which maybe I don't have 10% faith, but he's like, wow. So for him, he's like so much convinced. So if someone is simple-hearted, but he accepts that. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita, actually, Krishna says, right? There are those also who, although not acquainted with this knowledge, will accept this because hearing from authorities. Who knows this verse? I'm not good with numbers. I remember only the English translation. Very good of me, but I do not know if one would know. Right? There are those who are, although not conversant, if you type conversant and you select Bhagavad Gita translation, you should be able to find it. Yeah, if you go and search, you type conversant. Yeah, and then you go to book like Bhagavad Gita, book Bhagavad Gita translation, it will pop out. Actually, you know, on this Veda base, that way of searching is the best ever. There's nothing that comes close to it. Yeah, you see, 1326 there. Who wants to read?
Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
So you see how powerful humility can be. If humility is applied to a devotee, immediately your devotional service is raised to the mode of goodness. Immediately. So how strong it is. So it is said here, they're not conversant with spiritual knowledge. Even though they might hear classes, they might read Prabhupada books, or they have not done, maybe they're not acquainted with it. They cannot really explain it, or they don't, understand so much of the classes and the books of Prabhupada, but never mind, they have got this faith, you know. So faith in authority, when it's reposited upon a devotee, it is so powerful. The problem with us, most of us, we've been cheated so much. We've been contaminated by this age of Kali, always trying to calculate everything according to our senses. So this parampara understanding, this parampara system of understanding and receiving knowledge is practically lost. But in former ages, this particular verse here was very much prominent, because people would just accept, you know, what the sage would say, what the pure devotee would say, would just accept. But now we've been polluted so much. In this age of Kali, this process of receiving knowledge is practically dead. Prabhupada is trying to revive it. So yes, so this verse here speaks of, what is that again? Madhyama Sadviki Bhakti. So mode of goodness, middle of the mode of goodness. Okay, let's go back.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes. You want to read,
Sure.
yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
O King, one who worships the Lord of Shri Lakshmi like a servant with an intelligence equipped with scriptural rules and regulations, performs the topmost type of devotion in the material modes known as Uttama Satviki Bhakti, superior devotion in the material mode of goodness.
Yes. One who worships Lord Shri Lakshmi like a servant with an intelligence equipped with scriptural rules and regulations. That's it. So why we have to mold our life according to Prabhupada's books is for this, so that we can reach the highest platform in the mode of goodness. Srila Prabhupada is always telling us, read my books, everything is there in the books, everything is there in the books. Why? It's not just so that we have something to do, it's so that actually we can raise our devotional service so high that it comes the closest to transcendental devotional service, pure devotional service. So a devotee who acts only according to scriptures, he is there. Uttama Sadviki Bhakti. So that is very, very important, because if we don't raise ourselves to that platform, then how are we going to be transcendent the mode of goodness even? But we can see that the pure devotee, even that, you see, pure devotional service is so, intriguing in the word. It's very bewildering even, because all this collapses. Whatever we've been reading, it all collapses. Why? Because in the material mode of nature, there's categorization. Okay, you know, lower mode, medium mode, this, that. But all of these things which you're seeing here, when they're applied in pure devotional service, they're also manifested. Just like we learn, Prabhupada tells us that the highest devotees are the gopis of Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada tells us that there's different camps among them. And Srila Prabhupada tells us that sometimes they show off to one another. They are proud of their devotional service sometimes. So it's there, even in the spiritual world. But this pride here, what does it say? What is it? Someone who's proud is in the mode of ignorance. Now, rules and regulations, there's no, the devotees in Vrindavan, they have no rules and regulations like we do. Just like when we are about to touch the deity, we must be very pure, must have taken shower, we must do achaman and so on, then we go and touch the deity. But the cowherd boys, they touch Krishna even though they're full of dirt, even though they've been, eating. They're not going to be eating, finishing the meal, and going to take a full shower, changing clothes, and then they'll go and touch Krishna. No, they don't care for all this. So you see, so pure devotional service, why transcendental? Because all this rules and regulations from Shastra collapses. It doesn't make any more sense. So that's why it's so enigmatic. That's the word I was looking for. Enigmatic, because whatever we are used to in this material world, even as devotees, even by performing devotional service, doesn't make sense anymore to a pure devotee. So that's why it's, it blows my mind sometimes when I just try to contemplate what pure devotional service is, because I can understand I'm so far away. Okay, now we come to pure devotional service. Finally,
knowing thoroughly the glories of Lord Hari, that human who performs anything dear to Lord Hari while being fully satisfied due to being absorbed in spontaneous devotion is said to be performing Uttamottama Bhakti, topmost devotion devoid of the material modes.
So knowing thoroughly the glories of the Lord Hari. That's another, you see, knowing thoroughly, that is why we're trying to learn about Krishna now, is because still we are not fully understanding who he is, his nature, right? Krishna, his qualities, his pastimes, his paraphernalia, his entourage, all of these are Krishna. We cannot separate anything. That's why Prabhupada always used the word absolute, absolute, absolute. We don't really understand what is the meaning of this word absolute. We have some little, at least I don't want to be committing any offense. At least I don't understand what it is. So, and the more we study, then we start to understand a little bit more. Of course, by the mercy of the Lord, it's not our own endeavor, but Krishna is also pleased by seeing our endeavor, but it's not our endeavor that is the cause of the realization. It's Krishna's mercy. Krishna is fully independent. Even though we study for 1,000 years, Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, if he's not pleased with us, he won't reveal. So you see, but the pure devotee is fully, thoroughly, he knows, but still, then he becomes against covered. So again, he forgets. So if someone, a devotee perfects himself in the material world, he comes to not fully understand, but as much as the Lord allows him to understand. So he knows the glories of the Lord. He's doing everything. He's in every atom. He's in the heart of every living entity. He's the cause of all causes. Nothing happens without him. He's the most wonderful personality. He's the most powerful. So he starts to realize more and more of the features of God, Krishna. And then again, when he enters pure devotional service, in order to relish more intimate relationship, the Lord again covers him. So, but it's not that they don't know Krishna, they know. But because Krishna wants to enjoy more intimate dealings with his devotees, again, he covers them. So again, even this knowing in pure devotion, it also collapses. So we're trying to know Krishna, but the pure devotee, they don't even care about knowing Krishna anymore. This is so, okay, next verse. One who constantly
Yes, Prabhu.
One
One
who constantly realizes that.
You can go ahead,
You are
Mataji.
ready? Okay. One who constantly realizes that I, Vishnu, am the transcendental Lord, and that the entire world is rest upon me, is to be known as the topmost devotee.
Yes, that is Mahabhagavata. Next
These
one.
are the 10 types. These are the 10 types of devotion and capable of destroying material existence. Yet devotional service in the mode of
Goodness.
The mode of goodness is the one which can fulfill all of one's desires, material and spiritual desires.
Yeah. So here it is said that any of them is capable of destroying material existence. So what does that mean? That means that after all, somehow or other, if you come in contact with Krishna, then it's simply a matter of time. How long it's going to take? This is free will. You know, the guidance is there. How much are we going to take it? So some devotees, although they are committing offenses at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada now, they have done some service, and that is there, and that will play out in the long run. But there will be some suffering, you know, because you cannot disobey the order of the spiritual master and just go on as you want. No, you will have to suffer. But someday, you know, these people will come back. So we have to be careful also us, so that we don't. I mean, it's practically done. You know, Krishna says, "Yeah, and declare it boldly, Arjuna, that my devotee never perishes." So it's pretty much, I mean, to say in the pocket already. But we should never think like that. We should always be very much fearful that we fall away, because it's still possible unless one has achieved prema. You know, it's there in the Madhurya Kadambini by Viswanath Chakravarti Thakur. It says only the devotee who has got prema, he is completely, I mean, he's certain to not fall down. Because even on the bhava platform, there is possibility. This, I had doubts for a long time. I had never seen Prabhupada mentioning that even from bhava we can fall down. Then there is Bharata Maharaj. In the purports of, you know, this episode in the life of Bharat Maharaj, we see Prabhupada mentioning when Bharata Maharaj starts to develop some symptoms, right? He starts to have tears and he realizes the Lord in the heart. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he says these are, you know, the symptoms of bhava are described here in this way. So we can understand that Bharat Maharaj had attained bhava. So when I read this, I was, okay, but Prabhupada doesn't say directly that Bharata Maharaj had attained bhava and so on, but still we can understand like this. Another place is, now I'm sorry, I might be confusing the name. Who is the Acharya who was very much feeling that he's too lusty and he poked both of his eyes? I always confuse with Yamunacharya. Yeah, Bilva Mangalata, yes. So Prabhupada said that in his past life, he had attained bhava. This is there in a class, and I forgot to save it. You know. But Prabhupada in a class, he said that Bilva Mangala Thakur in his past life had attained bhava and he had fallen. And thus in this life, you know, he was fallen in the beginning. And then the arrangement was made that the prostitute became his first spiritual master, the one that shows the way. And in this way, he attained perfection afterwards. So even from the platform of bhava, when one can realize, you know, the Lord within the heart, he starts to have all these symptoms that we've seen. I mean to say, we've heard of, we've read, even from there we can fall down again. So we have to be extremely careful. So we should never think that I'm not going to fall down. There's no way. That is, we should be extremely fearful to fall, because we see it. Devotees who've been doing devotional service for decades, even such devotee, they can fall down. Okay, so concerning this, we can go Canto 3, chapter 29, just quickly, because in the Bhagavatam also these divisions are there, but they are not subdivided. It's just the 3 modes of material nature. So I know many of you know these verses. So just go 329, the chapter, just go in the translation of all the verses. You can start from, I think it starts like 7, 8. You go down.
Seven.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Starts with 8. Who wants to read?
Devotional service executed by this one. Hare.
Yeah.
Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, and angry, and who is a separatist is considered to be in the mode of darkness.
So you see here, Lord Kapila Dev is not subdividing the mode of ignorance, but he makes a summary of the whole 3 descriptions that we've seen earlier. Now,
the worship of deities in the temple.
Sorry. Just there's a point in that purport that I'd like to show. So the 8th purport, then we'll come back. 8th purport, last paragraph.
One who approaches the Supreme Lord to render devotional service, but who is proud of his personality, envious of others, or vengeful, is in the mode of anger. He thinks that he is the best devotee. Devotional service executed in this way is not pure. It is mixed and is of the lowest grade, tamasa. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur advises that a Vaishnava who is not of good character should be avoided. A Vaishnava is one who has taken the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the ultimate goal of life. But if one is not pure and still has motives, then he is not a Vaishnava of the first order of good character. One may offer his respects to such a Vaishnava because he has accepted the Supreme Lord as the ultimate goal of life, but one should not keep company with a Vaishnava who is in the mode of ignorance.
Yes, excuse me. Yes, so you see, Prabhupada here, one should not keep company with a Vaishnava who is in the mode of ignorance. He has especially mentioned ignorance here. He did not say passion. See, so especially such Vaishnavas should be avoided. But those in the mode of passion is not as condemned as mode of ignorance. In fact, Dhruva Maharaj was performing devotional service in the mode of passion in the beginning, but he became purified and he became a pure devotee. So, in other words, the reason for one to come to the service of the Lord should not be considered very seriously, because that will go away. Okay, now we can go back to the translations only. 9.
The worship of deities in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment, fame, and opulence is devotion in the mode of passion.
Okay, next one.
When a devotee worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offers the results of his activities in order to free himself from the inabilities of fruitive activities, his devotion is in the mode of goodness.
Yes. So here, Kapila Dev, Lord Kapila, especially mentions the lowest form of mode of goodness. Now we have seen those who are in the lowest in the mode of goodness, they want to be freed from the inebrities of their fruit. In other words, be freed from their karma. So that's it. But here there's a word in the word by word translation. If you can click on that verse, number 10. So here there's the word pritak bhava. If you can see.
Pritak
The
bhava.
word by word, almost at the end, pritak bhava, separatists. So again, but that was not, Prabhupada translated that word in the previous 2 verses. He says it, performed by a separatist. But here, even that is also separatist. So that devotee who is also performing this sort of devotional activities is also a separatist, because the desire are still not fully united yet with the Lord. They are not in complete union. So, okay. So that was just the point I wanted to make, that, okay, now we can come back and read the 2 verses about pure devotional service, which is 11 and 12.
The manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord.
Yes, this is pure devotional service. And the manifestation, if we are actually performing devotional service without any restraint, without any separate motives, that will be exhibited. What? The mind will at once be attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone, just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean. So naturally, it is not to be forced. Nobody is going in the Ganges with millions of spade and pushing the water. It naturally goes towards the ocean. Similarly, there won't be any necessary endeavor for our mind to be attracted to the Lord. So me, myself, I can understand that, definitely I'm not situated in pure devotional service. So which one I am, this is very subtle, it's in the heart, but I can understand by the description here. But never mind, we should not become discouraged, because we have taken to devotional service, we will purify our desires. So in the Madhurya Kadambini, it is described the difference between ruchi and asakti, right? So all these stages of devotional advancement, right? So first there's faith, devotee association, then one takes initiation and perform regulated devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master. And after that, there's anartha nivritti. So most of the unwanted habits are almost clean. It's not all, almost. Nasta prayeshu avadeshu nityam bhagavad sevaya, right? Bhagavati utama shlokin bhakti bhavati naishtiki. But Prabhupada translate as almost completely cleansed by performing this regulated devotional service. We become almost completely cleansed. So this Prabhupada says 75%. That stage of anartha nivriti means one becomes 75% clear of all this karma and jnana. Those desires for karma and jnana are 75% away. And when we manage to perform our regulated devotional service on this platform, then ruchi will come. So to develop taste in service is not something easy. It comes after, of course, some will achieve this platform maybe easier than others. This has to do also with past lives. But to reach this taste in hearing and chanting and worshiping the deity, it's not something that will come very fast. It needs years, So we have to be very patient. Now, the main difference between the ruchi and asakti is described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says that at the state of ruchi, when one performs devotional service and is thinking of Krishna, the mind unconsciously will go towards something else. So we have experience sometimes when we chant, we might be endeavoring to chant nicely and hear the holy name. And then the mind will go and, did someone send me a message? What I'm going to cook later, this and that. So it goes to other topics, naturally attracted to other topics. Here it says the water of the Ganges naturally flow down toward the ocean. Well, now our mind naturally flows towards sense gratification. At the state of ruchi, that is still happening. At this stage of asakti, it's the opposite. The devotee might be engaged in some material activity. Okay, let me do this. I need to find where's my wallet, or whatever it is. Sometimes you need some brain, some intelligence to perform your day-to-day tasks. But while performing this, you will forget about this and the mind will naturally just go toward Krishna. Naturally, you will remember Krishna amongst your material activities. And you will not be able to check that. You will have to bring back the mind and again, I was trying to do this thing. And then again, think about Krishna. The mind will go again and again. So as we are trying to bring back the mind on Krishna's lotus feet, a devotee who has attained a sakti has to bring back the mind to do his material thing. So that is the main difference. So there's definitely a big road ahead of us, but we should not become discouraged with regulated devotional service by being very serious in following all the instruction that Prabhupada has given us. There's no doubt that we're getting nearer and nearer and nearer. And Prabhupada said, if you want to make really quick advancement, you take to the preaching business. That's the highest, because your mind, your intelligence will always be engaged in this. How to do next, how to push, what can I do? And it becomes, what is that? Buddhi yogam. Your intelligence becomes linked up with the intelligence of the Supreme Lord. That means Krishna will give you intelligence. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. That's Buddhi yogam. Buddhi yogam, your intelligence is directed by the Super Soul. So, okay. I think we can maybe take a few questions or comments. If anybody has got any questions, let's see if there's something in the chat box. Okay. Okay, so Rudvi Nehal, I believe you are new here. So you're saying, Prabhuji, please guide me with the verse going on so I can be ready with Granth in next class. Okay, maybe you're taking notes. Is that what you mean? If you're taking notes, that's very good. Here, Priti Goranga Prabhu, could you put the website that you're using here, Vedabase? Maybe, you can put it in the chat box. So there's a website that we use. Prabhupada books also is good. So any of those, if anyone can put in the chat box here. So Rudvi Nehal, you can go on that website and use that website to take notes, Freeman Freeman, you're saying you have seen God, and you should be giving the class now. Okay, now Rudvi Nehal, please reply me on. Okay, you're giving your number here. Okay, that's nice. So I will add your number. Let me just do this now. So Rudvi Nehal. I'm adding you are, I believe you're in India, right? So plus 91. Okay, so I will be adding you to a group where you'll be receiving all the links to our live classes. There are many other speakers that are much more qualified than me, so please also attend their classes.
Yes,
so
Prabhuji, sure.
Oh, you are Mataji. Okay, Mataji, Hare Krishna. So, Mataji, so I will add you now if I'm capable. Let me see. So that I don't forget. I don't want to be forgetting this. So, this is called ISKM Group. Yeah, it's our okay, I have added you, Mataji. So this is our ISKM DT Darshan group. So there's DT Darshan pictures, but most importantly, there's links to our classes. You know, you can mute the group if you want, because there might be a lot of messages. So you can mute it, but check every day in the morning to see if there's a class coming up. You know, generally every week there will be. Yes, there will be about
on Zoom
4
we
or
do
5.
every
Sorry?
On Zoom we do every week.
No,
On
Zoom is mainly, you know, this time Friday. Most classes will be live on YouTube by Shriman Tadvavidas Brahmachari. He's a very, very learned Vaishnava. If you attend his classes, you will learn a lot. So you will be receiving the links in that group. So please try to attend. And thank you for joining tonight's session.
Yeah, I was randomly going through your channel and I got the link.
Oh, you mean the YouTube channel?
Yeah. There I just got the link. Yesterday I saw your channel, Nimai, Nitai, and today I just got the link that you are going to come on Zoom. So I just grabbed the opportunity.
Yes. Yes, generally I post all the classes. Sometimes I forget.
YouTube channel, very inspiring.
Oh, thank you, Mataji. This is a humble.
Very much
Just try.
inspiring. Like a being Grihastha, the way I saw so many videos of yours. Really.
Thank you very much for your appreciation, Mataji. Just trying to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions the best we can.
Anything I can from India, please let me know.
Oh, where are you from in India, Mataji?
India, Mumbai. Juhu ISKCON.
Mumbai, huh? Are you near the...
I have become devotee. It's just a month. Just a month ago. Just a month ago, I have become devotee.
Oh, you just started, huh? That's
just
nice.
Started my journey.
Are you reading Srila Prabhupada's books?
Yes, I started Beginner's Guide to Krishna Consciousness, then chanting Hare Krishna, and this Bhagavad I have a fixed timings of reading, so yeah.
Yes, very nice. So you keep chanting.
I heard from you. Yeah. My chanting is in morning from 3:30 I start. So initially it took me 2.5 hours. Now in 2 hours I am able to do my 16 rounds.
Oh wow!
Yes,
You're already chanting 16. Jai.
Just 2 days I was chanting, one chant in morning and one in evening, but third day I directly started with 16. When we have to reach there, why not directly 16?
Ah, very nice, Mataji. That's good, huh? So you keep chanting and reading Srila Prabhupada books, and you will realize this knowledge more and more. You know? And also, devotee association is very important. So, as I said, you have been added to the group. So please try to attend those live classes as much as you can. And whatever doubts you have or questions, you please reveal your mind. These sessions are meant for that. And in this way, you will progress more and more. Also, I will try to put you in touch with one of our Matajis. We have a group for Matajis only, where they associate with one another, you know. So that would be nice if you could.
Yes.
Sorry, Mat? Yeah.
Yes, please, you add me there.
Okay, sure. So I will contact. Her name is Pavitra Mataji. She's one of the Mataji who is in charge of that group.
Okay.
So thank you for attending the class tonight, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, we have something. We have something posted by Dimitri Prabhu here. It's a morning walk, July 13, 1974, Los Angeles. So Prabhupada is saying, and the hero is Vaishnav. We are going to produce such Vaishnavas, not these dull rascals sitting down. We don't want these Vaishnavas, sitting down rascals. We want Arjuna. That is Vaishnav. That is wanted. That if we remain rascals, then that Gura Sundar's example will be followed. Maybe there's a microphone that can be muted. One day you'll again become crazy and close up everything in smoke. So maybe we can mute that microphone. That's all. My Guru Maharaj used to say, one who has got life, he can preach. The dead man cannot preach. So you become with life, not like dead men. Without life, just like all my God brothers, they are dead men. And therefore they are envious of my activities. They have no life. If you want to make easygoing life, showing the deity, and then sleep, then it is a failure movement. Yeah. So this is a very famous quote by Prabhupada, very sharp, criticizing his God brothers. You know, there was this question asked, Prabhupada, what is the difference between you and your God brothers? They're also initiated, they're also they're also chanting and so on. And Prabhupada said the difference is life has been lost. You know, they're satisfied with having a temple and getting some rice here, some chapati there, and eat and sleep. You know, so the real mood of a preacher is not this; is that always try to push. You know? So yes. Okay. Sanjay Sharma. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam, Prabhupada. I learned that Hanumanji was an incarnation of Lord Shiva. We have been told that he is the most intelligent devotee. Why did Prabhupada say he was less intelligent monkey? No. So what Srila Prabhupada said is not an offense. It's not this. You see, as I said in the class, when we come to pure devotional service, what we think has some value in the material world loses its significance. Because what the Lord wants is what we should give, that's all. And never in all Shastra you can find one place that Krishna or Lord Ram, they are the same person, is saying that if you are very intelligent, then I will reciprocate with you. I am attracted to intelligence. That's what I like. So therefore, devotees don't place so much. Of course, someone who accepts Krishna, someone who serves the Lord, he's the most intelligent person. There's no doubt about that. You know, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said like that. Anyone who is a devotee, he's the most intelligent person. He's higher than the highest of so-called material scientists and so on. There's no doubt about this. You see, but sometimes it happens that the devotee are performing their pastimes, pure devotees, in less intelligent bodies. You see, just like this is a touchy topic, of course, but it's a clear example. Nowadays, you know, women are very much enthusiastic to try to say that they're equal to men, you know, equal in intelligence, equal and so on, so on. So, but in the eyes of the Lord, this doesn't matter. So this debate, it's all about sense gratification. Because with a better intelligence, one will naturally get a better sense enjoyment in life. So therefore, they're very much concerned with that intelligence. But Krishna doesn't care. In fact, the highest devotees, they present themselves as simple village girls. It's there in the Krishna book, in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. They say we're just simple village girls. We don't know. And now Krishna is going to the very educated women. How will they remember us? So Krishna doesn't care about your intelligence. What is your intelligence going to do anyway? I'm not speaking to you, Sanjay Sharma. I'm just saying, as a general you, we tend to calculate everything in how will the outcome benefit my own senses. But the pure devotee doesn't care for that. Therefore, Krishna doesn't look at this, There was even again in the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra, there's this forest lady, this tribal lady. So she was trying to give nice forest fruits to the Lord, but she was tasting before. So you can say that is not intelligent, because the Shastra says you never taste something before offering it to the Lord, and you have to wash it, and there's procedure and so on. But because it was done with pure love, the Lord accepted, even though she was tasting, okay, this one is not good, and then then giving, you take this one is nice. I have tasted nicely, you take. So this is but Krishna doesn't, or Lord Ram, the Lord doesn't care for that. He just wants to see. So Hanumanji, he is born in the Varana race. So the Vanaras are some race of monkeys. So monkeys are generally misbehaved. Just like, who is it? What is the name of the leader of the race, the king, the brother of Bali?
Sugriva.
Yes, Sugriv. So Sugriv, he could not even contain himself. When he saw Ravan far away, he jumped immediately and he went to beat him up, and he brought back the crowns of Ravan. So he could not control himself, and that's monkey nature. Monkey nature are not expected to be self-controlled. You see, Lord Ram was just observing. They were observing this, probably maybe discussing on how to attack and so on, and boom, he jumps and beats Ravan and comes back. So this nature will be there. But even though one might have been given a lower grade body, the Lord doesn't care for that. He wants to see with how much devotion we're trying to serve him. And this we must properly understand, because otherwise we will be misunderstanding devotees to be the material body, and that's offensive. And because Srimad Bhagavatam clearly speaks that any types of degraded forms of living beings, especially human beings, can become devotee, right? That verse, all the different races, Pulinga, Pulkasha, and then it goes all the way to Kasha. Kasha means the Chinese, So the Chinese race, if we compare according to Vedic culture, is a very sinful race. And we can see actually taking birth in China is a very low grade birth, because you cannot even practice religions. You cannot even, manifest your love of God without being persecuted. So it's a low birth. But does that mean that we shall judge that Chinese devotees are lower than Indian devotees and so on? No way. This is not how we judge someone. And naturally, by having a lower grade body, the regulations of the Aryans, will not be manifested as much. That's natural. So cleanliness, knowing how to dress, how to sit, how to walk, all these things, we might not pay attention to these things, but someone who is civilized does these things very nicely, just like Prabhupada, how he was eating, how he was walking, how he was sitting, even going to the bathroom, all these things, there are some rules and regulations that Aryans, especially those who are born in Bharatavarsha, they know. So, but not necessarily those who are born outside. And if a devotee doesn't have these know how to, these habits, these good habits of Aryans, still he should not be seen as a lesser devotee, because this is not how we calculate. We calculate according to the quality of the devotional service. That's all. That's what the Lord wants to see. And this is why Lord Ramachandra made this pastime of having only monkeys as his army, as his So he's showing in this way. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also is showing, right, that he's accepting. He made the Haridas Thakur a Muslim as the Acharya of the Holy Name. So he's kicking out all these material designations because he doesn't care for that actually. Even though it's there in Shastra to regulate society, right? Still, when it comes to pure devotion, as I said again before, all this knowledge collapses. That's knowledge. That's jnana, actually. Jnana karma anavritam. You should not have any more jnana in front of Krishna in the sense that you should not see things through. Is it good or bad? This good or bad collapses when you go to Krishna. To go out in the middle of the night to see another man is prostitution. Everybody will degrade such women, will speak bad about such women. But if you do it for Krishna, you're the greatest devotee. But there's no more, your jnana, your mental jnana doesn't make sense. So now if we're saying that, oh, Hanuman, why saying he's less intelligent, that's jnana. How can he be, less intelligent? How can, no, it's not important. Even though Hanuman might not have been intelligent, materially speaking, he's the most intelligent because he's only trying to please Lord Ram. That is how we calculate. Okay. I think, so Rudvi Nehal, as Mataji, yes. So I have added you already. And if you want to contact me directly, if you have any questions and so on, I'm putting here this is that's my number. Oh, no, I've sent only to Dimitri. Sorry, everyone. So I'm sending again here. So anyone here who has attended and is new, if you would like to contact me directly, this is my WhatsApp and Telegram number. So you can add me. Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, I think we can end here.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Anandini Mataji. Thank you very much. So thank you all. Vanchakal Patarubhischa, Kripa Sindhu Devacha, Patitanam Pavane.